We now want to look at how we plan this and design this simulation. So the very first thing we need to do is decide what kind of tool that we're going to use. So if I go back to linking into the knowledge that you already have, for example, tossing a coin, if you've got a head or a tail, that means that you've got a 50% chance of getting a head and a 50% chance of getting a tail, or converting that 50% to a decimal, 0.5. So if I'm trying to simulate something with a probability of a half or 0.5, then a coin might be a reasonable thing for me to do. If I want to use a die, that would mean I want to simulate something where I've got a 1 in 6 or 2 in 6 or 3 in 6 probability of being successful. So the key idea is that we need to know what probability we want to match, we want to use, and then find the particular tool that will match that. A spinner, so that's something that we can do. We can design a spinner and draw up as many sections as we need to so that the area matches our probability. Or we can do a calculator, and the calculator can generate random numbers which can then match any probability that we have. And we're going to look into the calculator / doing this on Google Sheets and using this random number generator so that we're not just limited to a 0.5 or a 1 in 6 chance of doing something. Oh, sorry, I've jumped back out of there. So just a key reminder here, probabilities can be written as decimals, fractions or percentages. Most of the ones that I'm going to give you will be decimals. That's the most common form for level 2, but you can represent your answer however you like. So here's an example. I want to simulate having a child. Each child has got a 50% or decimal 0.5 chance of being a girl. So I've got some choices that I could use. So I could use, for example, I could use a coin. And I can say, right, I know I got a head and a tail. I need to match one of those to the boy and one of those to the girl. So I'm going to say, I'm going to match, if I get a head, then that matches, that simulates having a girl. If I get a tail, that simulates a boy. So if I toss a coin and it lands up heads, then that means I've just simulated having a girl child. Okay. Or I could use a dice. So I could roll a dice, and I know, because I'm trying to simulate 0.5, so then I look and think, well, I've got 6 numbers on my dice, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that I could get. Half of those, and I'm going to split them into the numbers 1, 2 and 3, because that would be half or 50% of the numbers, and the other numbers 4, 5, 6 are going to match to 50% as well. So then I decide which one do I match to the girl, which one do I match to the boy. So I'm going to take the numbers 1, 2 and 3, and if I roll a dice and get any of those 3 numbers, then that simulates me having a girl baby. If I got the numbers 4, 5, 6, then that would be matching to a boy. I could also do this as a spinner, and as long as I've got a little diagram here, and you can see I've got 2 sides, A and B. And so they need to both be equal size, because we're talking about 50%. So in that case, again, I'm just saying, right, well, the girl is going to match to one side, and I might say, right, the girl would be side A, and the boy is going to match to the other side, and so we'd call that B. I missed that one out, so we'll just put our A's and B's in there. Okay. Fourth option for this one, I could randomly generate the numbers 1 and 2. Using a random generator on my calculator and or on the computer, and if I got a number 1, then I would match that to having a girl. If I got the number 2, I'd match that to having a boy. So for this particular example, the chance looking at having a child, then I could use those 4 different tools in different ways to do it. So there's going to be some situations where I can use all 4 tools, and then you just can simply pick one of those tools. Other times, though, you're not going to be able to use all of those different tools. I will have to use just possibly one of them. Okay, so let's have a look at a second example now. So I want to simulate a 70% chance so 70% converted to decimal, so you're dividing by 100, gives you a 0.7 chance. So that's my chance of getting rain. So a couple of choices. I can't use a dice because that's talking about a 1 in 6 chance, and a 1 in 6 is 0.1667, so 16%, and that doesn't match 70% exactly. Okay, same with tossing a coin, that only matches to a 50% probability, and I've got a 70% probability, so I cannot use tossing a coin for this one. I could, however, use a spinner, okay, and I could have 10 different categories. Now each of those 10 categories, and you can see in the diagram here, each of those 10 categories must be the same size. So then I need to say, right, I'm trying to match up, there's a 70% chance or 0.7 chance of getting rain. So I need to match up 7 of those 10 numbers to match up to that probability of 7 over 10, or 70%. So I'm going to say that if I spin that spinner and I get numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7, then that means it's going to rain. But if I get the numbers 8, 9 or 10, that means it's not going to rain. So then I've got a 70% chance, 7 out of 10 numbers, for raining, and a 30% chance, 3 out of 10, for not raining. Alternatively, I could also use a calculator. So I could generate the numbers 1 to 10. And again, if I get between numbers 1 to 7, then that's going to mean rain's occurred. Or I could have the numbers 8 to 10 matching no rain. Now, just in case you're wondering, I could have done this the other way around. I could have chosen any numbers to represent it. So I could have chosen numbers 1, 2 and 3 to mean no rain, and numbers 4 through 10 to mean it's going to rain. Okay, or I could have just picked numbers 1, 2, 5, 7, 8, 3, 6. As long as I'm choosing 7 different numbers, I could choose any particular mix of numbers that I wanted. So there's an exercise there for you to do, and I won't do that in this, well, no, I will. I'll go through those answers in a moment, but what I want you to do now is actually pause this video and try the exercises yourself.